So today we're going to review the final album from the band Megadeth. As you guys know, it's a band that's been for a long time. It's a huge band, and unfortunately, the journey has come to the end. It's their final album, so it's a bittersweet moment for me. I'm both excited and sad, but let's hear the album first, and then we'll get through our emotions and our grief, I would say. But yeah, let's see if this album is any good. So the first track is Tipping Point. You can hear the classic Megadeth reference, the biteness to it and the aggression, that trashy sound that the guys have accustomed us throughout the years. And I think it's a good intro to the album. It's a really kick-ass song to set the tone, and it makes you ready for what's to come in the next tracks. The second track, I Don't Care, is also a very badass track, I would say. It kind of makes me feel bad, honestly, about the new guitarist, because this is like their final album and it has a good solo on this song. I'm also like wondering, maybe that's why Kiko left. Maybe he knew like the band would only last for this long, and the, the whole touring thing, like that it's huge because Megadeth is a huge band and Kiko has his family, so maybe it was not worth it for him. But again, this is speculation, so doesn't really matter, to be honest, as long as everyone's happy, and I think everyone's happy. But I kind of feel bad for him because he did a great job in this record, and there are a lot of good solos throughout the album, and it starts off right with this song. So again, a good song, I would say. Nothing wrong with it, but yeah. I also know like Kiko is a guy that likes to experiment and likes to have his own creative touch in the process, and this being the last album, I'm not sure how many creative space there was for this, because you can tell they wanted to give back to the fans their sound, and it's their loyalty with the fans, so they have to trust that sound. And he does a great solos in the record, and maybe there was creative room for that, but other than that, I'm not sure. Not that Kiko had that much input on these last few years, but they did make a Grammy winning record, so I don't know. Again, this is just speculation though. Hey God track is a very interesting track, especially lyrically wise, and I'll just keep it at that. And the following track after that one is the one I find the most cringiest, not gonna lie. It gives totally that Unk vibes, which is Let There Be Shred, and it's cute and maybe has some cliches on that track that are like meh, but it's fine, I guess. Like with all these years, I'll just give it a pass. The tracks overall in this record are well mixed, I would say. Like you can see, it's a good production, and the record seems well engineered. I do feel like they lack a little bit of that bass that's more modern, because everybody drop tunes now and they stay true to their sound, so it's all in standard, you can tell. But I'm not gonna say like it's a bad mixed album. It's not, because it's Megadeth. No, they have good gear. They know what they're doing, of course. So it's an overall good sounding record, it seems. Puppet Parade is my favorite track of the record. It's such a classic Dave Mustaine lyric, and that guy is truly a revolutionary. He still kicks ass, and that irreverence and that disruption is always looking for despite his age. Like that still is much needed in the world and still resonates very well to this day with many people, and you can definitely feel something when you hear this track. And that for me is classic Dave Mustaine, always being angry and not happy with what we have, and in a good way, it's amazing how that guy still has the balls to bring out this type of message to the world that we very still much need. And yeah, it's amazing. It's one of those sad moments. Like I'll thank you, Dave. Thank you, Megadeth, and we will miss those types of lyrics, and thank you for the courage for like to this day still having the balls to say and write this type of lyrics. So this is an amazing track, for me my favorite track of the record, and I do think it's one of the best Megadeth songs of the last year. So this one's very nice. Also, going diatonically before the solo, just to kick the solo, is a classic Megadeth thing, and I also want to say thank you for the lessons. Then Another Bad Day, it's also a track that's heavily lyrically, and it makes me feel like, yeah, this is another bad day in the sense that it's the final record, and this is another bad day, but we'll get through it. So it marks the spot for me as what I'm feeling with this record, like this bittersweet feeling. I think this track represents the climax of it, and I do think like the journey of the record is well made because it takes you through these spots. So overall, I think it's a good experience. That being said, the rest of the tracks didn't do much for me. The last note is some sort of goodbye. You can tell from Dave, and it gives me vibes of some songs they did in the past. Maybe this one, unfortunately, you can tell lyrically they've put some effort in it, but I don't think it's their best goodbye song. And you guys probably remember the one I'm thinking about. I'm not gonna say, but I'm sure in your head you know there are songs that Megadeth did that are better goodbye songs. But that being said, the journey of the record is very good. Going back to the start, the tipping point is like the tipping point, the end, since this is the final album, is the first track, the beginning to the end, and the record takes us through these journeys in time, and I appreciate that the last track, it's a bonus track that everyone's talking about because it's a Metallica song, like Ride the Lightning cover, and yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna disagree that it's not much different from the original, but I do appreciate how they put that in there because you cannot talk about, especially Dave's journey, without talking Metallica and their beef and coming to this end with this sort of resolution. I think it's very healthy, let's put it like that, and I think it was a good nod from Dave of like we can't speak of Megadeth and Dave without speaking of Metallica, and I don't think this is sad at all. I think like it's respectful of him to show like his evolution, and I think this record is a good record in the sense that if you're a Megadeth fan, you get that evolution. Like it's as if they were telling a story, and I think it's well deserved, and they did a good record. It's a good sounding record. I think people are getting disappointed because it's not the banger tracks, but I do feel the record has some good tracks in it, and I do think they will age well. You have to recognize like the band has been here for so many years, and they've been very loyal. Their sound, they did evolve. You can see it in the structure of the songs, the solos, the engineering, the lyrics. You can see the progress there. But it's a band that's been respectful to their sound since the beginning. That's like Dave Mustaine's philosophy, and you gotta appreciate that because there aren't many people, many bands that did what these guys did. And it's a trade-off in the sense that you either will love it or you'll hate it, because if you like that sound, it's one of the most respectful bands to their fans ever, and you'll love this record because I do think overall it's a good record from them. It's not the worst at all, and I still have this CD, which is one of my favorite CDs ever. They've did so many good songs throughout the years, so many good records. and they had so many good lineups and so many good musicians that one could only wish for to have a career like them, and they're gonna definitely be missed. I know they'll be touring, so if they are around the city you live in, you should go see that show because you never know how many chances we have left, and the guys deserve it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're watching, thank you. You are the true OG.